Kool-Aid.
That's right.
Something red.
Yeah, exactly.
Kool-Aid.
So they can have it in their classroom.
That's right.
Is Sarah done? Right here. She's done.
I know she's not coming tonight. Coming anymore. Okay. All right, we ready to get started?
So we got Bill. Keep us simple.
That's right.
It's a tough job.
Basketball. We're doing okay so far. I wasn't
Right.
good at it either, but there was some fun involved. I'm leaving college all time. High school this year. All right. Fun. We'll go through.
Yeah.
It's nice to have records.
Ready?
Ready?
Okay. Go ahead and call the USD 49 Board of Education Board meeting for Wednesday, July 5th to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Entertain.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Been moved by Board Member Waddell,
Second.
seconded by Board Member Lang. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is the reorganization of the Board of Education for the Board President, Board Vice President, the Board Clerk, Deputy Board Clerk, and the Board Treasurer for the 2017-2018 school year. We will start off with the Board President, it looks like.
Nominate Lance Bickle for board president.
Okay.
Second.
Been moved by Board Member Adams and seconded by Board Member
There are
Waddell.
no term limits.
I know, I asked
He
already.
can't reject.
Been moved by Board Member Adams and seconded by Board Member Waddell. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll
Well, hold on.
go for it.
Are you up to it again?
Yes,
You've done a great job, Lance. I mean, I think that's.
I appreciate that. And I would like to see it as, you know, just in talking with some different people, I would ultimately like to see us get back into some sort of habit of, you know, with the vice president moving into that to kind of get on some sort of a deal, but which obviously that was not in our plans, you know, where things went the last couple of years, you know, some things changed and stuff like that, and that's going to happen. So, but no, I'm fine with that, whatever's best for the board, so.
And I think because of where we're at with the bond and everything is just critical for continuity, he's doing such a great job.
Give him a little pat on the back, would you?
That's because I don't want to mess with it, so somebody else is doing a great job. Very good.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next item is the Board Vice President.
I nominate Dr. Paul Adams.
And I'm going to respectfully decline.
It's fine.
And then I would like to nominate Mandy Fox.
Okay.
I could have returned the favor.
No, we
But I'm
already-
declining. I was very in conflict of interest in my presidential search. I'm going to be busy this year.
Okay.
So, but
I'll
I
second
do
that.
nominate, yeah.
So it's been moved by, well, let's see here. I guess I'd just go with him, just be off the table. Okay.
Yeah.
So been moved by Board Member Adams, seconded by myself. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next item is the Board Clerk or Keeper of the Records. Did you just add that last piece, Sarah? The Keeper of the Records. It's all good. It's kind of funny.
Sounds a little
Records
Dungeons and
keeper.
Dragons.
That's right. Motion would be to consider the appointment of Sarah Wassinger as the Board of Education Clerk and Keeper of the Records for the 2017-18 school year, as well as Renee Booth as Deputy Clerk per KSA 72-8202C.
So moved.
Been moved by Board Member Waddell,
Second.
seconded by Board Member Lang. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And the next one, the last one in the reorganization is the Board Treasurer. And we will consider the appointment of Nicole Corey as the Board of Education Treasurer for the 2017-18 school year per KSA 72-8202D. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Been moved by Board Member O'Vorney,
Second.
seconded by Board Member Fox. Any further discussion?
I know that you probably, not a single board member knows this person, do you?
No.
We will try to arrange for her to be here in the next month or two, and so you can be introduced to her.
I thought I remember she was hired here, was it a month back or so?
Mhm.
I thought I remember seeing it on the thing. So. Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is audience participation. Any takers? Mike, you look like you might want to say something.
No, no. Maybe just fine.
Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item, which is the report of committees. Do we have anything?
Don't have.
Nothing there. We will move on to communications from other organizations. I don't think we have anything there either.
No, sir.
Next item is the report of the superintendent.
The only item I wanted to share there was, we did have that meeting with the health insurance investigation, to say it's that way, and that was last week. Good information. It's more a matter that, of course, there was a little disappointment that it didn't just come back and say, yeah, we can save you $150,000. You know, that was what we were hoping on. Can come back and it sounds like maybe it'd be still even with what we're paying, but even when we're looking at 2017-18 of a $395,000 increase with our Blue Cross Blue Shield, and 2018-19 of over $400,000 increase. When you're looking in 2 years of over $800,000, we already, it looks pretty sure with Blue Cross Blue Shield, maybe it's still something that really needs to be looked at real strongly. It may be somewhat of an even move at this point, and there's great anxiety of making any move when there's when you're talking about health insurance. But the one company that was being investigated the most at this time was Aetna. Aetna is well known in this area, just like Blue Cross Blue Shield. But again, it's different.
And I think there'll be some information that we'll be able to
Right.
send out to the board to go through. As John said, it was at first glance, I guess maybe disheartening a little bit. But having said that, once you looked into it a little bit further, at the end of the day, we would have been looking at a substantial savings that they have built in the quote that was put in. They built in a $200,000 quote unquote premium holiday that we basically would not pay in order to ensure that if we are fined from the state of Kansas, if we were to leave, that would be there to cover that. So at the end of the day, if that $200,000 is taken into account, it's a fairly substantial savings, but obviously I'm sure there's going to be some sort of a fine that we would have to pay. So at least that is there to cover that, and there's several other items that they've added in there for the health programs and things like that, everything from gift certificates to $10,000 and other there's a number of things. It was actually a fairly expansive program that they've done, all the way down to, in fact, there was some discussion dealing with, for sake of argument, prescription drugs. They're going back and they're actually creating a different policy or a different plan to address some of those things that came up in there from some of the teachers' piece there. So, I mean, I think
The
there was...
point there is they can do a
Yes.
lot of different things, whereas the state's Blue
Right.
Cross plan is pretty much a package. I mean,
And their exact words
this is
were,
it. It's-
whatever that we want them to design, they will design a plan. So part of it was basically brought up, we wanted to try to stay as close to what we have now and have those type same options. And like I said, it was a little bit, there are a number of things in the current proposal that they brought forward that are actually better than what we have now. There's no co-insurance, a few things like that. But like the prescription drug, using that as an example, it was a little bit different compared to the way ours is now. So there were some trade-offs depending on what it was. Overall, I was very close, but as they said, no problem.
They made some modifications that
Yes.
they're going to share tomorrow.
Right.
I mean, with that even. So they seem to be
A
very
lot of
much-
flexibility.
Yeah, in a lot of working with. Again, it's just it's one of those investigations that's challenging, delicate. We know how important health insurance is. Don't want to make any mistake at all, but when I'm sharing over $800,000 in the next couple of years, and you're looking at one company's increases over the last 5 years versus the increases that the state of Kansas Blue Cross Blue Shield has shown for us, that can play a big role in making a decision perhaps as well.
And I think they did a really good job of addressing I know one of the things that was brought up right away, I mean, Aetna, for those of you that don't know, is 10 times the size of what Blue Cross is. I mean, they're not even, it's not even a comparison as far as size-wise. Their footprint and coverage area in this area is actually better than Blue Cross is in this area as far as for coverage. So that would not be an issue. I know in years past, I want to say, who was that? We had said at Coventry or one of those, there was some concerns then because the coverages were not here. Certain people didn't take it. That's definitely not an issue in this one. And like I said, I think they're going to share even more on some of that stuff there. But I think as was discussed, I mean, like John said, there's never a great time. Nobody ever wants to talk about change. But having said that, until we make some sort of a change, we're never going to get those the numbers that we need to be able to go out there and look. And I mean, they've even said, they would even look at hope, based off if they had those numbers, they could even possibly give us better rates. But they're basically taking a leap of faith to an extent as well, because there are a number of things they don't know about. There are some bigger claims and things like that, but since they don't have that information, it's tough to go through and actually make or give us the additional rates. So until we get away from the state on that stuff there, I mean, you're pretty well handcuffed, and it's a take it or leave it approach versus here. We have a lot of customization and ability to work with them to make plans that fit. And there was talk, I think they went through and talked of 5 to 6 different plans, giving employees a choice, and obviously depending on where we go, at the end of the day, if we can do that cheaper, it also frees up money then for salaries, which is ultimately what we've been trying to do.
The main idea was just to share that there's still in the process of investigation. We know that there's a very important part of this because of informing the teachers or the employees, because we would like very much for them to have the same confidence as maybe we might be getting, with this particular. Even if we are getting convinced that that's the case, I think it's all as just as important that we have employees that as well are backing that and feel that it is. We sometimes make decisions that are not what you'd say the best, because basically fear, concern. I'd hate for that being the case, and with our health insurance, fear of making a change. But if it doesn't happen this year, I'm still in that mode of saying that I'm quite confident that it would be the next year. I mean, there probably needs to be changes. There just has to be, with the amount of money we're putting into our health insurance year after year. It's
and as you said, I
is
think
tremendous.
before we move forward with anything, there's a fair amount of education that's still going to have to take place and make sure everybody's on the same page. So,
and that was all I wanted to share, was just that that's not a lost piece. We're still in that mode. It's not fast track, because I think that'd be a mistake. We need to be slow, deliberate, make sure that everybody feels that there's it's being studied as well as possible in making that decision. It's not it's not one that needs to be taken lightly when the decision's made. So.
very good. Any other questions for John? Okay. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, to include 1,001 different items. To include the board meeting minutes for June 26, 2017, personnel transactions, approval of bills in the amount of $38,300 Homeless Children Coordinator. Compliance Coordinator for federal anti-discrimination laws, including where we have, including your title and section 504 for the ADA, the Public Information Officer, the CAPERS Authorized Representative and Additional Signer, the Building Principals to enforce compulsory school attendance, the Title I Representative, the Federal Nutrition Services Representative, the Official District Newspaper for publication of school notices, 1,116-hour school calendar for the 2017-18 school year, the annual waiver of requirements for generally accepted accounting principles for 2017 and 18, guidelines for activity funds for the 2017-2018 school year, the resolution establishing petty cash limits, the resolution to allow for destruction of records, the official depositories for school district funds, the discussion on board attorney, the setting of the annual records fee, the Freedom of Information Officer, and the signature card approval.
And I think after all those being stated, Lance, the only thing that really changed was maybe my name as the hearing officer for the Federal Nutrition Services
Most of those, I think, were just
instead of Tracy. I think the others really are the same.
Right. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Been moved by Board Member Waddell,
Second.
seconded by Board Member Adams. I'll open it up for discussion. If anybody has anything on any of those that we went through, there was a fair amount of them. So if you want a minute to read through them or make sure. Seeing no further discussion, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. On to new business, the Board of Education meeting dates for 2017, 2018. And I believe those are the ones we looked at.
Yeah, there was no one that contacted us asking more questions, so I was
Yeah.
taking it that maybe it was okay. But it was,
I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Been moved by Board Member Lang,
I'll second it.
seconded by Board Member Fox. Any further discussion? The only questions I had just dealt with May 2018 and June 2018 of next year, and I think we kind of talked about it a little bit. Do we still feel just the one meeting for each one of those months is going to be?
we're going to try it.
Okay.
And if we have to, we just had very little business in May, and,
Okay.
and May became that problem of the date, that there's so many conflicts that exist, so
Okay.
we're going to try it.
Very good. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is setting the reimbursement rate for mileage. I believe it is it 53 cents a mile this year?
53 and a half.
53 and a half.
Thanks, Sheree, approved that.
Well, I would move to adopt the state mileage reimbursement rate.
Okay. Been moved by Board Member Waddell,
Second?
seconded by Board Member O'Borney. Any further discussion?
Our options on this are the state, or we can go above and select a higher mileage reimbursement.
Correct.
Now, is this the same mileage reimbursement that we're doing also for like the busing people and the folks like that?
No, the busing.
This is different, correct?
It is different.
Okay, that's why,
This
because I
is-
thought it was a lower amount.
This is reimbursement for staff
Okay,
mileage.
okay. That's why I wanted to make sure, so. Very good.
Can I ask just a qualifier? I understand the motion, that's fine, but our policy actually states that it is the Kansas State mileage reimbursement rate. So do we have to actually have action on it when we say that it will change? We're just identifying that it changed to
Wouldn't-
53
If it's in policy, unless you're not changing the policy, so. You would not have to act on it.
So we don't really need to have action on
Unless
it. It
you're going
doesn't,
to change it to something else.
yeah.
Okay.
I think it's the way it needs to be read, is that we will change whatever the state's is, we'll go with what the state is.
State mileage reimbursement, right?
But, so therefore, there's not really a need for an action
Okay.
on it. It's probably good every year to identify the increase,
Sure.
and so you're aware that what it is, but it's not something
And actually, did it go down?
to vote. What?
Because wasn't it 54 or 55?
54.
Okay, so it actually went down just a smidge. Okay. If that's the case, then we will not vote on that since it is in the policy and move on to the next item, which is the board president appointments.
Let's go back to, we had a motion in a second. We probably need to withdraw the motion in a
Oh.
second.
Oh, okay. I thought so.
I withdraw my motion.
Okay. Motion has been withdrawn. Next item is the board president appointments. And those I assume we'll just get together and we just have to get you a list of those. Perfect. Is that attached on here?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Any interest in any of these? I know some of you have fulfilled some of these. If there is interest in continuing on those, let me know.
I'll keep going.
Okay.
So keep me on it until.
Okay. Perfect. And if anybody sees any other ones that they're interested on, let me know, and we'll make sure that those are on there. And the next item on the agenda is fees for the 2017-2018 school year.
I didn't know if it was a requirement since the laws changed that we cannot charge a kindergarten fee anymore, but I thought it might be cleaner for you guys to go ahead and vote to remove that fee. So it's about $21,000 that we typically collect for that, but according to the law, we will not be able to charge a kindergarten fee any longer.
Good.
I move to eliminate the kindergarten enrollment fee.
And the intention of a third, I mean, at this point, with
I
other
thought it'd
fees,
be two separate motions though.
oh, excuse me.
Okay.
Second?
Been moved by Board Member Fox and seconded by Board Member O'Borney. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just a question, so that leaves us neutral, the money coming in from the state.
We will get paid for full day kindergarten, so we will get that extra. We used to typically only get paid for half of an FTE for kindergarten students, and we will get paid for a full FTE. So that would be based on the base state aid at $4,006. So we'll actually get $2,006 more per kindergarten student.
Okay,
Based on
and
our
that'll
contract.
offset what we had in fees?
It will be more than what we received in fees, yes.
All right, very good.
And I think it's important to note as well, I mean, that was something several years ago when we implemented the kindergarten fee, that we stated that we would remove it as soon as the state started paying for it, so that's exactly what we're
Okay.
doing, so.
And just to share, and understand for years, we were just getting, the state only paid half,
Right.
and we've been providing full.
Right.
We didn't have to provide full, but we chose to provide full. And for 4 years, we've been, where does that extra money come from? It's been in many ways saying that it's coming from other general fund for those other students. To say that kindergartners are less expensive to educate than first graders, second graders, makes no sense.
Spend a day with them. You'll listen.
Might actually go the opposite.
Okay, so it'll take pressure off the general fund for us,
Right.
which is, okay, very
In
good.
fairness, parents' pocketbook.
That does-
Yeah,
does
exactly.
that handle
That'll definitely
very
help.
well. Good, good.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And then do we need to,
Approve the policy.
well, yeah, I would assume we'll probably need to go through and remove, do we need to remove that out of the board policy then, since it's now, to basically amend that? Because I think it is a board policy, isn't it?
You have a policy that then the state is actually nullified. I
Okay.
mean, it's not a matter, I don't think you have to do, the state itself,
Okay.
because of what they've decided, has nullified everybody's piece that
Okay.
identifies that.
Okay.
I think that'd be the correct way to say it, isn't it, Bill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
And just
And then-
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
It's just a question. So when will the parents be notified or?
We'll, actually,
I mean, it should be in the
you're-
paper, but-
we're dealing with new business and acting on them, which we thought this would be the 24th that we're acting on some of these, which is okay, but we were going to be waiting till the 24th and then probably informing everybody the 25th. But the way, I mean, with you acting on it, we'll get word out as soon as possible.
Well, and I think the as far as the kindergarten fee, in my opinion, I mean, it's something
That's
that
a done
we
deal.
made very
It's a done
clear.
deal.
That's a done deal.
Yeah.
Maybe with the other one, you may want to wait till the 24th to actually have action on it. So,
Okay.
And that was basically to remove a third
Yeah.
off the fees.
Did you
So
vote
that's
on the
the next
kindergarten? I'm sorry if I missed that. Did you vote on the kindergarten?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, we'll move on to the second piece then, yes. Yeah, our recommendation is because of the additional funding we will be receiving, to reduce the workbook material fee 1/3, which will take it from $135 to $90. We thought that would be the best one because it touches every student.
That's great.
And that's equivalent to about $90,000 that we would not be receiving from the student fees, that we would have to supplement with general fund.
Okay.
I think that's great. I mean, I think that's part of everything that we said, that if we continue, if we get funding or the other things, that we were going to try to continue to adjust those fees and move them in a downward direction. So a little bit at a time, but at least we're getting there. And 90 is a heck of a lot better than 130 per student, so.
Wow.
135.
135, sorry.
Especially when you have multiple kids.
Yes. So,
And that's just one piece of, how we would like to allocate the funding, but I knew that was one of your goals, and ours also was to lower those fees. So we thought it was a step in the right direction.
you're okay with waiting to the next meeting?
yeah, I would say if we want to put that on the next
About it.
agenda, yeah, we
Okay.
can vote on
If
it.
there's any other information you want in the next week or so, let me know if you want it presented.
But with the change in Bay State aid, the 90,000 reduction, I mean, we're again looking at a net gain to the district with $2.
Yes.
And that net gain, just so everybody knows, we plan on sharing that at the 24th, on the board meeting on the 24th, of how that net gain is being planned to be used for the budget this
Yeah.
next year.
I don't know if we'll have the Supreme Court decision by then,
Right.
but we may have an indication of at least what direction they're going, since the 18th is when they're hearing their final oral arguments. So at least maybe we'll have a hint of what direction they're going to go with it.
And this restores much of the formula funding in the prior.
No, I don't know if
No.
much as
Some.
some. Yeah.
Some.
Mhm. Right, yeah, I mean, I think, Department of Education and different experts say that, it's still hundreds of millions of dollars short of where we should be, but it restores some.
Okay. All right.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the Memorandum of Understanding for Ellis County Schools.
It was really for the police departments of Ellis, Victoria, Hayes, Sheriff's Department for Ellis County, court representation, and then a meeting that I had with the county attorney as well. The three superintendents of the three different districts. It's an interesting group to meet and talk about this particular memorandum of understanding. For the group there, they went through this very, very well. We went through it step by step and agreed that they felt Ellis County's been doing this. Yes, if there are districts in the state that have not had good relations with the police or sheriff or county attorney, they understand how this had purpose, but they feel that we've done very well. Therefore, the template that was given to us, there was a few things that were added, but largely it's the same template that was shared to us by the state. It was signed last week by everybody, and it was sent to the state for all three of the school districts in Ellis County last Thursday. So it's nice that we did agree. There's supposed to be regular meetings with this group. Regular could mean one a year or two a year. Definitely felt that a monthly meeting was not a necessity, but we do plan on continuing this and following through what the requirements were with every school district in the state. And I say school district, this is a expectation that was placed on, as I say, county attorney, the court system, the sheriff, the police, and the school districts. All of them were really in a position, I'd say, mandated to follow through with this and have it done by July 1st. So we did that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
With that being new business, do we want to vote on that at the next one then, or with the
It's
way that's set on?
more information, there's
Okay.
no action. It
Okay,
was
that's
more,
what I
I
was
felt it was
making sure.
very important to formally share with the board that we had completed that.
Very good. Any further discussion on that?
We'll just have an adoption the memorandum.
Because again, it was mandated by the state. No, I don't think there's any action at all with this.
Next item on the agenda is board member vacancy. So we will need to vote to adopt a motion to authorize us to fill the vacant seat for board member Rankin effective July 14th, 2017. And I think this, if I understand correctly, we just basically need to make a motion to authorize us to go through and publish.
Yeah, publish once in the official newspaper, stating that applicants have 15 days to apply. And you can't publish until a vacancy occurs, so that'd be
Till the
probably
14th.
starting July 15th.
Okay. Very good. Well, I guess on that one, it really doesn't make any difference. We can, well, we actually probably would want, because our next meeting will be after that one. Yeah. So we would probably want to go ahead and do, entertain a motion on that to authorize them and basically, and as of July 15th, place it out for the district newspaper. And I would also add, are we putting that with our new, the way we've done that on the website and everything as well?
I will as soon as it becomes
Okay.
official.
So I would entertain a motion on that.
Move that we vote on the motion to authorize 49 Board of Education to fill the vacancy of Sarah Rankin, effective July 14th, 2017.
Been moved by board member Adams,
Second.
seconded by board member Fox. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. So then, Sarah, that will just be,
And that replacement would serve the remainder of the term. It should be this year and then 2 more years.
and then Sarah, you'll just that will basically be placed then in the paper and the website then on the 15th, I would assume, as far as.
Right. There is a 3-day window to have the notice put in the newspaper up
Okay.
to, so we could be looking as late as the 18th.
Very good. Next item on the agenda is the milk bid for the 2017-18 school year. And I believe Jessica is here to share some information.
We only got one bid again this year, so there's not really much to share. One option really. It was Highland, and the other company, we sent it out, and they never, last year they didn't bid because they couldn't meet our delivery requirements of coming 3 times a week. So I assume that that's the same reason this year, that they were still not able to meet that. But Highland does a great job for us, and I checked, and our prices are comparable to other districts and better than some. So I think we're getting a fair price with what they did, so.
And are we okay, Jessica, to have that on the agenda for the next meeting to vote on that?
Yeah, that's probably fine.
Any discussion or questions for Jessica while she's here?
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
You want to bring some vanilla shake milk? I would like to try that.
Yeah, I saw that on there. I was like, what?
Kids love it.
Okay, and next item on the agenda is the Hayes High School concrete bid.
Rusty is here if you have questions, but with the information that was shared last meeting, I didn't hear any more questions that had come from it. I guess that's what I,
Was it addressed as far as what area that was replacing, or what? It
well,
was fixing?
Marty had said that it.
I knew he
ended
had
up-
some of it, I thought, but I didn't,
Yeah.
maybe he did answer it, and I didn't.
It's,
There.
it's basically
Okay.
extending south from where we were.
Okay, so we're we're extending on or adding on, we're not necessarily replacing concrete that's already there.
No, we're replacing asphalt that's
Okay,
with
okay.
concrete.
Gotcha.
And basically where the new concrete is, we're extending south into the asphalt.
Okay.
I really want to make a point of this too. It's
61,000.
Yeah, 61.5 for a couple sections of concrete. And there's 11 more sections that really should be done there. And you're looking at that price. And I want to make sure that you, as well as others, have an idea of what we think is sometimes maintenance of just keeping things. I mean, this is just pouring some concrete. $61,000 and trying to deal with that. How many more years, in this particular way? Again, I hope addresses that need of how much money does go into just trying to keep things up. That maintaining part of it, and the frustration of doing it in a process that is such a slow process. Would be nice to end up having $700,000 and just get her done. Just go out there and fix that parking lot. Instead, trying to find the worst spots and then address that worst spot and wait for the next year and address the next worst spot and try to address it. So, I'm sorry, just opportune time to share. That's a lot of money.
It is.
And the cost of this is not just pouring the concrete, it's removal of the asphalt.
It's the
preparing
cost,
for
right?
it, so there's quite a bit of labor involved.
It's the labor involved as
Very
well.
lot of labor. Okay.
Very good. I would entertain a motion to approve the concrete bid for a portion of the Hayes High School parking lot for the 2017-18 school year in the amount of $61,500.
So moved.
Been moved by Board Member O'Borney,
Second.
seconded by Board Member Lane. Further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is discussion by board members and agenda requests.
There was one item that I wanted to share, whether it's a report of superintendent or at this point, but thanking Dane G. Hansen Foundation for granting $1,200 for a washer and dryer and laundry supplies at one of our elementaries, at Wilson Elementary. So that was, again, one of the wonderful things that does happen here is the grants that we're able to invest in. And I think we even had this as a capital outlay item for this next year. So it's nice that that can be scratched off and prioritization can move things up, with something else at that point.
Very good. Any other discussion points or agenda requests? Okay. I think we need an exec session, even though Bill was kind enough to provide us with this whiz-bang exec session piece.
Are we supposed to keep this over there by our,
It's cheat sheets.
under our little nameplate?
Or memorize it.
Right.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
Monday. We do have a date, a
Negotiation.
time set at 4:30 in the afternoon for our next negotiations. I think we're okay with doing that, just like Tracy said with our budget. All school districts are moving ahead. We're not out on a limb by ourselves, but we do have our budget meeting by the state out at Oakley next Thursday. It's on the 13th, so we're going to go out there as well. So we're moving ahead with what they're identifying as what our budget should be. full well knowing that I guess it does, I don't see how they can make much change with it. I think that if there is any decisions, and that's what we're hearing, it wouldn't be for next year. It'd be pushing change for the following year or the year after that, as far as how they're handling the funds at that point.
Any other discussion or agenda requests? Okay. Meeting's adjourned.
Very good, thank you.
That's what you're asking.
9 minutes past.
It's not too bad. I still have time.